brothers. Shalom, Yahweh, Shamar, Elatah, Bahashim Yahushai, to all the sisters. This is the ISUPK, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under the one and only Commander General Yohana, started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. This is the ISUPK Las Vegas Brotherhood class. And today, we're going to basically go over that you integrating, doing what Martin Luther King had marched, and what a lot of you Christians like to say that he basically died for, that's going to get you the same end, the same doom as, your oppressors. You understand? And then after that, if we do have time, we're going to go into who Christ actually died for. You understand? With that being said, though, for those of y'all that are watching, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. The Facebook page, which is ISUPK Las Vegas. And then for those of y'all that are on YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube on ISUPK Nevada. We got to make sure that we all do our part to spread this brotherhood to the four corners of the earth, to all so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? We have the same opportunity that essentially you're having to, get yourself right and to start following these laws, statutes, commandments. And also, understand who you are, especially according to the Bible. You understand? So with that being said, as I'm liking and sharing the class, if anybody has any online questions, young man, if you have any questions, let's go ahead and start knocking those out. Nothing in the room? All right, no sweat. I'm gonna just go ahead and, you watching Facebook, correct? All right, make sure you just watch that, and then we'll get started. Also gives y'all time to, if y'all have any questions and whatnot, type them in, and, for you can share the class yourself. So Salakia. Of course. Okay, I think. Oh wait, yeah, okay, yeah. All right, so to start off so far, before we actually, kick into the class, why can anybody tell me why I'm bringing up interracial marriage, or even Salakia, or even integration for that matter, but also interracial marriage? Can anybody tell me why I'm bringing that up in the Brotherhood class? Yeah, man.
Because we're not supposed to integrate with them, and that's and the reason why you're bringing up the Brotherhood, that's brotherly to let us know that that's unlawful to be integrating with those other nations.
You're not wrong, but that's not the answer I'm looking for. Like, of course, that is, that's part of brotherhood to, to warn your brother, to, let, basically inform your brother or sister that, they straying left or to the right. So I will give you that. But what other reason? Make sure you watch on Facebook as well. What other reason? Like, give me more. Like, why is it important to even know in the first place that, you know, integration isn't for us? But again, like I said, why am I bringing that out in the Brotherhood class? So first, think about what integration has. What positive things has integration given us so far? Okay, so what has integration done to it? And when I say us, just for y'all, when I say us, I mean so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? Um, what has integration done for us, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, since we've integrated with the, you know, so-called white man? Go ahead.
Keep us oppressed.
Right. It keeps it'll keep us oppressed. But in the midst of that oppression, what else is significant about me bringing that out in the Brotherhood class? Like, what is significant? What is the significance of me bringing that, you know, interracial marriage and integration in the Brotherhood class? I'm literally giving you a hint in the middle of the question. What is the significance of wanting to talk about why interracial marriage and integration, why it's wrong? I guess maybe I didn't say that last part. Why it's wrong for interracial marriage? Why it's wrong to integrate? Why would I bring that out in the Brotherhood class? What is the significance with me bringing that out in the Brotherhood class? Go ahead.
Because it's wrong.
Okay, it's wrong, but why? No, you gotta give me more. It's something way deeper than that. We got anything online? I'm gonna check YouTube. All right. The significance with me bringing that out in the Brotherhood class is is it brotherly for you to take a white woman as your life or as your wife? That's unbrotherly, isn't it? So when you take a woman from another nation, and I want you to Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6 real quick. When you take a woman from another nation, it don't matter if she's white, Asian, you know, African, whatever, what have you. If they're not Black, Hispanic, or Native American, you taking them is unbrotherly. Consistently for you to marry and let a man of a noble you. That's unsisterly. Go ahead and read that when you got it.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Oh, hold on. Right. Go ahead and read that again, though. We will start with that, but read that again.
Come on. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Okay, so first and foremost, what does that mean to be a holy people? Go ahead.
Be separate.
So you are a separate people. So unto who?
Unto the Lord thy God.
unto the Lord thy God. So we supposed to be separate. Separate from whom?
The other nations.
So first and foremost, before we even go into the brotherhood aspect in the first place and pull another verse, I mean, what are you doing in the first? What are you doing by taking, by integrating or by, having an interracial, partaking in an interracial marriage?
Being unholy. Basically.
Okay, you're right. But how about let's go 2 verses up? Salaki, go to verse 3.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
So, first of all, who is saying that you should not make marriages with them? Go ahead.
The Most High.
So the Most High is saying you shouldn't make marriages with them. Who is the them?
The other nations.
The other nations. Who is he speaking to?
Israel.
All right. So read on.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son,
mm-hmm.
nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Okay. So with you having an interracial marriage, after what we already, put together in the first place, what are you doing for you to, start an interracial marriage with somebody? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, basically, you're bringing someone in from another nation, also with their beliefs, brings their influence onto your people, unto you and unto your household and unto your people, if they so choose to know.
Okay. We're gonna revisit that thought, but first, you integrating, because in verse 6 it says that for thou art a holy people, so we're supposed to be a separate people, right? And then we go into verse 3. First of all, verse 3 says that we're not supposed to make marriages, right? So we're not supposed to have interracial marriages. Then when you go into verse 6, it's basically saying it's because you're supposed to be separate. So do you think that you're supposed to only be separate with just marriages?
Wow.
What else are you supposed to be separate with? What else makes you separate? Go ahead.
We're supposed to. We can't.
Short and sweet.
Basically, don't deal with them unless it's a business and you benefit out of it.
What makes us a holy people? What makes us separate?
By not dealing with them.
All right, hold that and then go to hold, because we're gonna come back to Deuteronomy. Go to the book of Psalms 147, 19. While the young man is doing that, for those of y'all that are just coming online, I see the numbers are coming up a little bit. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe on Salagi on YouTube, the ISUPK Nevada, and also if you have any questions as well, put them in the chat. We are watching the live chat for both Facebook and YouTube. And then for those of y'all that are just tuning in on Facebook, make sure that you like and share the video, and then also like the ISUPK Las Vegas Facebook page. Go ahead and read that when you got it.
The book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob.
He showeth his what?
His word unto Jacob.
Okay.
His statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
What are statutes? What are statutes? Go ahead.
Standards.
Right, exactly. It's your standards. So what's the judgments? Go ahead.
Consequence.
The consequence Consequence of what though?
Of your actions.
Okay. Are you gonna have a judgment? Are you gonna have judgments if you're righteous your whole life? Now I emphasize judgments for a reason. Are you gonna have judgments if you're righteous your whole life? And I'm talking about from judgments from the Lord. I'm not worried about we ain't worried about the world because they got twisted judgments in the first place. You know, they want to sit there and try to tell you that the law is done and over with, but you know, Jesus died to kill the law, but make sure you pay your tithes. That's Old Testament. Come on now. And you know, we can continue on with that, but you know, let's answer that question first.
I would say yes, because I mean, good or bad, don't you still get judged either way?
But okay, but what I'm saying is, what my question is though, if you're righteous through and through, you are righteous upright, right? And that's your entire life. Are you gonna have any judgments?
Wow.
Why?
Because I mean, you're living a right. There's no reason to judge you if you're living a righteous path.
Shalom. So with that being said, what are the judgments for?
For sins.
What is a sin?
Anything that goes against the law, statutes and commandments.
Okay. Can you precept that?
Law.
Look up for sin is the transgression of the law. And then we're going to wrap all this right back when we go back to Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3 and verse 6. Okay. Go ahead.
The book of 1 John chapter 3, verse 4.
Uh-huh.
Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law.
So whosoever committeth a sin also transgresseth the law. Was that it on that?
A little bit
more. Go ahead.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
So if you're a sinner, you're a lawbreaker, right? So let's go back to Deuteronomy 7 and 3 real quick. Oh wait, Salaki, 7 and 6. We're gonna revisit some of them questions and see if you could put them together for me, Baba Kashab.
I got it.
Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Go ahead and finish. Just finish out that verse.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
What would you use to precept that verse?
That same.
Which one? Paraphrase it. Go to Psalms 147 and 19.
The book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and judgments unto Israel.
So with that being said, he's basically, no, you tell me, what is that saying? What is it that only Jacob got? Read that and tell me what only Jacob got.
He sheweth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his commandments unto Israel.
Okay, so
he got the standards and the consequences if you go against.
Make it short and sweet.
So I mean,
what's the first line say?
He showeth his word unto Jacob.
So what did Jacob get?
His word.
Whose word?
The Most High.
The Most High's word, right?
Con.
Now, keep on reading. Keep on reading.
His statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
Keep going.
Verse 20. He hath not dealt so with any nation.
Nah, he did that with Esau, though.
He hath not dealt so with any nation.
But the Hamites, the Africans, he chopped it up with them a little bit.
He hath not dealt so with any nation.
But I mean, he made China a superpower, so obviously he's dealing with China.
He hath not dealt so with any nation.
But I'm pretty sure that he spoke to Kim Jong-un, and so that's why North Korea think that they can beef with America.
He hath not dealt so with any nation.
Man, what nation is this that the Most High has only dealt with? What nation is that? What?
Israel.
So it's Israel, your so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So now, mind you, so from verse 20, it says he did not do this he did not do this with any other nation. Now go back to Deuteronomy 7 and 6 and tell me how those correlate.
Well, in Deuteronomy it says that for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, so us being separate, and that being said in verse 20, how it said he not have dealt so with any nation. That those correlate because that's only talking about him. He doesn't say anything about any other nation.
Right. So with that being said as well, let's revisit an earlier question that wasn't answered here. See me one more time, Bubba Shot. Revisit that question I had asked you earlier was Salaki, it just slipped my mind just real quick. Hold on. The question I asked you earlier about what is the first thing that you are doing when you partake in an interracial marriage. Make sure that you follow the water. Make sure you check it on the Facebook. Make sure you stay on top of that. All right, the water. But what is the first thing that you doing when you partake in an interracial marriage? When you as a man deal with a woman that is not Black, Hispanic, and Native American, or you as a woman you allow a man to humble you that is not Black, Hispanic, or Native American. What's the first thing that you just did? Go ahead.
Sin.
Okay. Yes. Wait, did you want to give another stab at it? Because I'm just gonna
not being separate.
Yes, but basically you just disobeyed the Most High, because mind you as well, the origin of this entire the first question I basically asked you was, what is the significance of me basically getting into interracial marriage and integration? Why is that important in the Brotherhood class? It's basically what my question was. You understand? Because if we have an interracial marriage, if you partake in an interracial marriage, what are you doing? What's the first thing that you're doing?
Disobeying the Most High.
Disobeying the Most High. Which in turn, because you are right, I just wanted something specific. But, you are transgressing the law, but also as well, you basically transgressing the law from, what the law was when the Most High gave it to Moses, and then when Yahweh came to fulfill the law as well. When Yahweh came on scene, because he basically said to make sure that you love your brother as thyself, right? That brotherhood was the number one. Basically, there's no greater commandment than brotherhood, essentially, right? Pull that verse, just real quick.
Fuck it, what was it again?
There is no greater commandment than to love thy brother as thyself. I believe. Just type that in, and that should be it.
Con.
Go ahead.
The book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 38. This is the first and great commandment. Verse 39. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Who is thy neighbor?
Your brother.
Could your neighbor be, someone who lives next door to you? Whether it's, and I'm saying next door to you and it's a white man? Is that the type of neighbor it could be, referring to?
Law.
How you know that it's only speaking about your brother?
Well, one thing is the Most High only deals with Israel. So when it says thy neighbor, it's talking about the so-called blacks, Hispanics, or Native Americans. That is your neighbor. That is your brother.
Can you take me to a precept where it basically talks about us being, never mind, I ain't gonna do that. But no, you're right. Because we're supposed to be separate anyways. And we're supposed to be just living amongst ourselves anyway. Well, not necessarily amongst ourselves, but, we are supposed to be amongst ourselves. Right? And everybody, put it like this. Everybody basically has some sort of camaraderie with a neighborhood on some level. And so they have a camaraderie with who their neighbor is, right? So do you think that Yahweh Shai was coming on the scene to create a camaraderie with, the Hamites? If a Hamite lived next to you, do you think Yahweh Shai came on the scene to create a camaraderie with the Hamite just because he's your next door neighbor or lives down the street from you?
Wow.
All right, so there you go. So now, part of the reason why I started off with this was because what's going on today. Who can tell me what's going on today that's got I'm not going to necessarily blame it on just the women, but it is, it's primarily the women. Our black, Hispanic, and Native American women right now who are going crazy about, a certain story. Can anybody tell me what that story is that also deals with not only an interracial marriage, but kind of hits on integration as well?
What was the question again? Wow. Sorry.
What had happened currently that basically revolves around interracial marriage and also integration as well, that I had to bring, essentially bring these verses out because it's got our black, Hispanic, and Native American women Christian women in particular going crazy about a certain story that had, basically, came out. We got something on Facebook? Huh?
Wow.
Okay, so do you know?
I'm not sure.
All right. So Oprah Winfrey had recently done an interview with the Duke or whatever out there in the UK, because the dude had married a mixed race, because she's not a sister, but a mixed race. She's an Edomite. I believe her father is an Edomite. I know her father is a heathen, but her mother is a so-called black woman, right? And the reason why I was bringing this out in the first place is because here in America, it's got our Black, Hispanic, and Native American women. And mind you, from this point on, I'm just gonna say Black, and y'all just understand that this encompasses Native American and Hispanic as well. But what that's done because of Christianity, because of integration here in the first place, because we don't see, the Most High's laws, and we want to do things that the rest of the heathens basically do. Our women here in America really think that first and foremost, that, what is her name? Megan something. Look it up. The chick out, the Duke and the chick out there in the UK. I can't remember their names. They ain't that important to me. But I did, I did wanted to speak on it in class a little bit just to bring some things out. Go ahead.
What did they do?
They had a baby. And while you looking that up, I just want to bring out, they had a baby. And mind you, she is, according to the Most High, she is a heathen by the seed of your father. You understand? And we're not going to pull it, but you find that in the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 18. You're the seed of your father. So with that being said, her mother is a so-called black woman. I don't know if she's a Hamite or she's actually an Israelite. But the point is that, she's still, she got some melanin. Hold your point. She Markle, is that the name? Markle?
Salakia. What am I looking up?
Look up Markle and Megan, or Meghan Markle, whatever it is. It's the Duke, a Duke out there in the UK. A Duke is out there in the UK, married an Edomite, or heathen, we'll just say another heathen whose mother might be Israel, right? And because of that, the royals are basically giving them issues with the baby, to the point where even Tyler Perry, came out and housed this heathen woman. I want to say that Commander Jenny Yohana had actually brought out that she is that she's an Edomite in specific. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard when I was listening to it. But what I'm trying to get at is who messed up was Megan's mother, because she laid down with a white man. You understand? And now it put her daughter into a position where basically she's put on a pedestal today because she might have some nigga hair, some nigga features, whatever that she inherited from her mother. And because of all that, just like with Kamala Harris, our young Black, Hispanic, and Native American daughters and sisters and mothers, they looking at these. Well, hold on. They're looking at these heathens as if they're sisters that made it. Oh, that sister, she's in a seat of power. She's a vice president. This sister is, she married a duke. So, that's a sister that made it back into royalty and, blase, blase, blah. But the thing is first and foremost, when you go back into the scriptures, you're not supposed to be having interracial marriages in the first place. You understand? And the reason why is just like with Bob Marley, because his father is a so-called white man, and then with Kamala Harris, if she actually has any type of Black in her, even though that we do know that her lineage comes from Ireland, and then same with what's her name, Megan something. Did you find that yet?
Meghan Markle, but I can't really specifically find anything. It's like all over the place.
Look, just look up Oprah Winfrey's recent interview. Do that. With all of that, what you get out of all of that, when you create children like this from interracial marriages, ultimately what it does is it creates confusion. You understand? And the confusion starts out with the children themselves, because they don't know who they are, basically for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, take for example, Bob Marley. Do you think that Bob Marley was really, walking up and down the street saying, "Oh yeah, white power," doing that little goofy ass little sign that the Proud Boys was doing when they was debating Commandant General Yohana and whatnot. And first, and just a moment real quick, give a hand to Commandant General Yohana for just taking down the Proud Boys. Not just once, but twice. You understand? But you really think that, Bob Marley was walking up and down the street talking about some white power, or, my dad's white, actually having any type of white pride, essentially? Nah, because first and foremost, I mean, let's be honest. Although we want to be accepted by them, who really wants to be like the oppressor? You want to be accepted by them, but I mean, do you really want to be one of them people that don't know how to season your chicken, that don't know how to dance, that don't know actually how to make music? The only thing that you know how to do is rape, steal, murder. I mean, hell, and just be unoriginal. You understand? Who actually wants to be that? That's why, when most people, when they actually have a parent that is an oppressor, majority of the time they really don't take too much pride in. They don't take too much pride in that, especially particularly when they know their history. You understand? Because what part of their history is there to be proud of? Think about that. What part of, starting from the Greeks to the Romans, going all the way up into America, what is there really? What, you had a strong military force? How far does that take you, though? Rome had the strongest military force as well, and what was their demise? Or not demise, but what was their end? Are we all called Romans today? Are we all speaking whatever, the Roman language it was back then? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure we're speaking English, and they weren't speaking English. So that culture pretty much gone. And actually, mind you as well, Rome is pretty much one big ass country of a ghetto. Y'all probably didn't know that. a lot of the Coliseum, they're constantly, applying anti-graffiti throughout the Coliseum because, they spraying it up despite the security and whatnot. Y'all don't know that though. Y'all just know the good parts about Rome, the glorious parts of Rome. But the crazy thing is, you don't even know the glorious part about your own self, about your people's true culture. And that's what's terrible. You understand? And that's because of the integration that we all decided to partake in. And with the integration, that created more interracial marriages, which, as we brought out earlier, essentially you disobeying the Most High in the first place. And you see time and time again what happens when you disobey the Most High. And, just to be real quick with something that had happened recently. Ooh, it's like I got to sneeze. But what had happened recently with that one sister that was, I don't know if she was married to him or just a girlfriend, but, she was humble. She allowed an NFL offensive lineman to humble herself. We'll say that. You know what I'm saying? The UPK, we say that she's married. But he beat her to an inch of her life damn near. Beat her unconscious. And then when she got up and he's sitting there at the table enjoying a smoothie, says to her, "Oh, you're still alive?" And basically, the worst that came out of that is just the simple fact that he got released from his team. He's going to get minimal charges because he's claiming, what is that called? Mental, a maniac, basically a maniac episode. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. But he's claiming a maniac episode. So, but when you have it in comparison to, and I brought it out before, but when you put that into comparison with Michael Vick, you know what I'm saying? Michael Vick got more of a punishment for killing dogs than this brother did, than this white man did for beating a sister, basically from her life. You understand? So, with that being said, let's start getting into for that. Like, I'm gonna leave that for y'all to ponder on. Moving forward, whenever you decide to think about, dealing with or integrating with on any level with anybody outside of our own people, on how essentially you're gonna get treated. If something goes left, you gonna be treated way left. They call the cops on you, something, pops off, whatever, then what that person is gonna deal with. And in fact, they might be in the wrong. And just because of the fact that you Black, Hispanic, Native American, they did something wrong, but you did everything right. Didn't even hit them back, or whatever the case may be. You still gonna be the one in trouble. You still gonna be the one who gets judgment on, receives any type of judgment, because it's not necessarily the white man's judgment that's coming down on you, but there's consequences are coming down on you because you're disobeying the Most High in the first place. You understand that? So we're gonna start getting into what the end is for our oppressors. Starting with the second book of Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 1. We're gonna start there. Go ahead. Yes.
Did you want to go over that Oprah Winfrey interview real quick? Or did you...
Yeah, we can read that real quick, just for a little bit.
Okay. So this is here, like a year after Meghan Markle married Prince Prince Harry in a fairy tale wedding, she said in an extraordinary interview broadcast on Sunday night, her life as a member of the British royal family has become emotionally desolate that she contemplated suicide. At another point, members of the family told Harry and Meghan, a biracial former actress from the United States, that they did not want the couple's unborn child, Archie, to be prince or princess, and expressed concerns about how dark the color of the baby's skin would be.
Oh, wait, hold on. Like, read that. Like, don't just try to blow past that. Like, read that again.
And expressed concerns about how dark the color of the baby's skin would be.
So they're over here worried about just your skin color. Now, mind you as well, because we are in the Brotherhood class, I do want to bring out this real quick. First and foremost, pull this verse right now. The Lord, Speckled bird. The Lord's people are like unto a speckled bird. In ISUPK, we don't do colors. It don't matter what shade you come out. It doesn't matter what your nose looks like. It don't matter what physical features that you have. The only thing that we deal with is what seed you come from, what spirit you have in the first place. You understand? You can look any type of way. Anybody that is caught up on how you physically look, man, you are just still caught up in the oppression. You still a slave. That's the only way to put it. You still a doggone slave. Because that's part of the division that, our oppressors has set in the first place, all the way, in the Atlantic slave trade in the first place. The whole dark skin and light skin, that started with that started with them in the first place. It started with the fact that the so-called, our oppressors had shown favor to, the lighter skin complexion to an extent that it created with our dark skinned brothers and sisters. And of course, because we got broken down so much over time that created a feeling of trying to please the master. And it comes over today. Like, you have to understand that our experiences is inherited over the generations. You understand? Because first and foremost, and this is a break class, but regeneration is real. You understand? Regeneration is in the Bible. But my as well, is it that, something from just the time of, and we're going to do something real recent, but when 9/11 happened, a lot of people were traumatized. You understand? A lot of people were traumatized. And the children that basically came after that time, shortly after that time, had essentially inherited, PTSD symptoms. Just like how Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have been inheriting PTSD symptoms for the last 400 doggone years, where to the point where it's pretty much just got us absolutely submissive, and we don't even need master to tell us to go and fight your brother, to go and kill your brother, to go and sell drugs to your brother, do this, do that is going to destroy your own people, is going to kill your own people. He don't even have to tell us to do it no more. We just do it ourselves and just say, oh, it's for the game. Oh, it's for the game. It's for my set. It's for whatever. It's for my son. You have every excuse in the book, but when it really boils down to is generation. It's a generational curse, and that curse is a generational PTSD. You understand? It's been instilled in us throughout the generations. You understand what I'm saying? Did you find that?
All the time.
Go ahead.
the book of Jeremiah, chapter 12, verse 9. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
So, is there more on that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The birds run about against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field. Come to devour.
Can you break that down? Can you break that down? Read the first line. Read it out loud.
Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
So, who is the mine inheritance? Who is the mine? Who's mine?
Israel.
Who's speaking?
Yahushua, but he's
Yahushua speaking in the book of Jeremiah?
I don't know. It just has to do with something.
You said this is Jeremiah
chapter 12, verse 9. Salakia.
Let me get there with you. Okay. So, this is it's these are the Lord's words, all right? First and foremost. You have to understand that. But it's Jeremiah who had, wrote this book. So, who is Jeremiah's inheritance? Who is the inheritance of the Most High? Who inherits the Most High? His, whatever he has to inherit, essentially. Who inherits it? Israel. So the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Are like unto what? Is unto me as a what?
A speckled bird.
What's a speckled bird look like?
A lot of different colors, brown.
Right. Now, why does it not say speckled birds, but a speckled bird?
Because since he only deals with Israel, I mean, he says speckled birds because we can be different. We can be white, just like me and you are. We can be brown. We can be black, or whatever.
We're not white. We just light. There's a difference. But go ahead.
I mean, basically, we can be any color, but
any shade, right? Right.
And but since he only deals with Israel, if you are of Israel, which is whoever your father is, that's who he deals with. Doesn't matter the shade or whatever that you are.
Okay, but why does it not say speckled birds plural, but it only says speckled bird singular?
Because it didn't say birds, because the reason why it says bird is because he only deals with Israel. It doesn't say birds because it doesn't deal with. That's kind of implying other. I guess you would say other nations in that kind of aspect.
Give me more.
So, like, you deal with this. So, for example, you deal with this kind of bird. Say, like, for an example, a hummingbird. So, where Israel is a hummingbird specifically, you can be any color. Doesn't matter what you are, but as long as you're this kind of bird, you will deal with any bird outside of that. You are another nation.
Speckled bird isn't necessarily a species, though. The point that I'm trying to bring out is, like, you were close, but the reason why it was a speckled bird because that one bird is gonna have many colors. Okay, many shades on it. Ooh, Salaki. Because it was, it's a speckled bird. But as far as if it were to say speckled birds, hold on, let me backtrack. So, because it's speaking about just one bird, that's that one bird is basically represented as the nation of Israel, right? Because if he were to say essentially the nation of Israel, my people, my inheritance is like speckled birds, then it kind of broadens it in the aspect of, well, this one bird and that one bird, although they don't share the same colors, they're a bunch of different colors, each one individually. So you can literally look at the bird as one nation. You understand? The only thing, the bird is a nation. And that nation is speckled. It's got many shades, it's got many colors. It ranges from the lightest to the darkest. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the nation of Israel. So, moving on. Break that down. Go ahead. Move it on.
The birds ran about are against her.
So, and this is why I was saying, why I brought out that you have to look at the speckled bird as a single entity, as a single nation, because, read that again.
The birds ran about are.
So there's other birds now around Israel, right? Around us. Go ahead.
About are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field.
Hold on, Salagi. Let's back it up a little bit real quick. These other birds are what?
Are against her.
I mean, first and foremost, who's that already describing in the first place? Go ahead.
Esau.
So all the other birds are Esau?
Esau and the other nations.
Esau and the other nations. You understand? They all are coming against this one bird. There is many birds in the sky. Trees, in the trees and in the sky, soaring above us. Of course, because of the condition that we are in, you can just basically say we will, that speckled bird is over here chilling on the dirt. He's on the ground. We on the ground trying to pick ourselves up. That's what Israel is doing right now, right? So all of them have come against us. Go ahead and read on.
Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field. Come to devour.
So come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. We have to kind of read on for that, and just for time's sake. We're not. If y'all want more on that, for those of y'all that are online, we can, bring that out in another class. But basically, just a quick little synapse. It's just basically saying, bring all of them, bring all the beasts. Those beasts are those other birds in the field. You have to understand that, hurry up, that the other nations have always been considered, beasts of the field. Like, for example, when I believe it was Paul, he had that vision of, all the beasts in the field, and he was confused. And he was like, I've never partaken on eating these other, these animals and whatnot. Like, that's not, like, I don't understand. But later, when he was given that vision again, he was like, okay, now I understand these other beasts aren't necessarily beasts. You understand? A perfect example of that is when you go to the book of Genesis, which means the beginning. In the beginning, there was a serpent, there was a snake. Tie that into what the history is of today, current history. what do the so-called Native Americans call the colonizers, the Europeans that came over here, the so-called white man? Call them, a fork-tongued snake, and they still do that today. You understand what I'm saying? So we've always spoken like this with our analogies and our metaphors. We've always spoken like this. So to refer to these other nations as beasts is nothing new, because that's exactly how they act. Because a beast just acts on instinct, however they feel. Hey man, if it's time to get down and lay it down, man, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Mind you, as well, dogs do that, cats do that, lions do that. It don't matter what animal they're dolphins, orcas, whales, whatever animal you can think of in the animal kingdom. When it's trying to, get his little, his little coochie rubbed on, his rod rubbed on, whatever, man, it's gonna rub it on whatever the hell it want. It can. If it's a pile of mud, another doggone lion, another female dolphin, whatever, they get the urge, they just go ahead and do it. Is that not what the so-called white man does? Hell, is that not what they basically really pushing to, be the main, be an accepted culture here in America today, to the point where they're pushing it onto our children as young as 8, that if they want to have a sex change and you say no as a parent, oh, you will be taken to jail and that child will be taken away from you. This is the land of opportunity. This is the land of freedom that we all so love so much and fight and die for. And just the ridiculousness that we as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the effort and energy, the ridiculous effort and energy that we put into this doggone country just for them to essentially, turn our children on us. This is why we don't know brotherhood. This is why we have to have these classes. This is why I've taken the time that I have, as many classes as I've taken to, really drill into y'all who our oppressor is, who our enemy is according to the Bible. You understand that? Because if you don't know who your enemy is, you just gonna think that everybody is your neighbor. You're gonna think that everybody is your friend. You're gonna think that everybody is for you. That's what and that's what they talk about. Is every kid, no child comes into the world with hate in their heart. Hate is taught. You doggone right. It is taught. And Esau, the so-called white man, from the things that they probably talk about in their houses, that's all that baby hears when he's in the womb. So by the time he comes out, when he's pink and red and just disgusting and ugly as hell, he looked like Piglet off of Winnie the Pooh, he's already hating niggers. He's already hating Spicks. He's already hating all these savages that own this land and built this doggone land and keep this land going. America ain't great because it runs on Duncan. It ain't great. Duncan ain't even great because, the white man owned it or because they run it on the level that they do. Everything is great in this doggone country because of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
That's right.
There's not a single business on this earth that will make it, that will be a mainstream business without Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
That's right.
Wendy's wouldn't be the franchise that it was without Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Best Buy, Target, Walmart, you name it. It's because of what we do. What, you think Gucci got as expensive as it was just because, white people, spent all their money on Gucci? When it's us who's rocking it? Think about that. Just think about that. Each time that you go into any store that you go into from now on, pay attention every time you go into that store. Start paying attention to the people that are in there. And then also pay attention to when you're waiting in line, what that doggone, what that total balance due is for each person that goes up. Because mind you, Israel, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, if it's a clothing store, we like to look good. We like to smell good, because mind you, and this is me paraphrasing it, but Solomon basically, he broke it down the best way. We do everything, a man does everything for a woman. It's for women. We keep ourselves together. We buy jewelry, earrings, necklace, what have you, for women. We make sure that we smell good. We always shower. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, little mama, I'm gonna come over. Whatever. Just let me go home and do. Let me go take a shower first at home and freshen up, and I'll come and see you. That's what we do. Oh, okay. I can take a shower at your place. All right, then cool. I can do that. Let me bring some stuff with me though. But let me shower first. Man, these little funky ass white people. They're already funky. They don't even realize they funky because they so comfortable with they funk. You understand what I'm saying? They're not worried about what a woman thinks because at the end of the day, they trying to lay up with with one of they brothers, with another white man. A prime example of it as well. Again, just one more time, give it up for Commander General Yohana just crushing the Proud Boys just one more time, Salakia. But during that last little ass whooping that Commander General Yohana had given the Proud Boys, Salakia for my language, but if you watching the videotapes, that white man over there walking by, what's the brother name? Because I believe he said that he was from the tribe of Manasseh. He was Cuban. They would walk by him, touch his chest, touch his face, and man, you would never see that foolishness in the doggone UPK. First and foremost, let me get that straight. All right, you would never see that foolishness in the ISUPK anywhere. You understand? And if you ain't gonna see it. All right? Period. Because we don't allow that at all. You understand? But that's what they do. That's why we be smelling, the other nations being so damn funky. Because they ain't worried about what a woman thinks. But mind you as well, they women know that they supposed to just submit to that nasty beast of the field. Whether it's Esau the snake or Moab the bat eater or Ammon the octopus eater, where they damn near the animal that they consume endlessly themselves. You understand? Make sure you pull the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 1. But their women are basically already accustomed to, I need to submit to this beast. And that's part of the reason why all these other nations have such a fetish, basically, for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because they got a fetish for a real man, for a real woman, for a real living human being. You understand? Because, otherwise, you're just dealing with a man that essentially, if you do your history with the Greek and Roman Empire, you do realize, and look this up. They tell me if I'm wrong. Look this up for your doggone self. But part of their customs was their women was used only for I can't think of the actual word, but for reproducing. Yeah, they would take a wife. Say, yeah, that's my wife. I'm married to her. We got X amount of children, whatever. But basically just to continue their seed. But you know who their lovers were? I challenge y'all to look up Alexander the Great, who his lover was. Not his wife, not who bore him children, but his lover. And I'll even give you a hint. I'll give you two hints. The first one being, it was his highest commanding general underneath him. And then secondly, there were no women in Alexander the Great's military. I just challenge you to look, go and find the facts on that for yourself. And to also, learn who his name was. Not to glorify him, but mind you as well, the history books glorify Alexander the Great, but don't speak about the abomination that he partook in of homosexuality that the Bible speaks against. You understand? Go ahead and read that while you got it. I'm going to drop that.
The book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahushua, Mashiach,
uh-huh,
and by our gathering together unto him.
Read on.
Verse 2. That ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as the day of Mashiach is at hand.
Can you break that down for me? Them two verses. Just for time's sake, because I do want to get through some of these. Now, we beseech you, brethren. So that's basically saying, we talking to you, brothers. All right? By the coming of our Lord, Yahushua Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him. So, so far, we know that the Lord, Yahushua Mashiach, is coming back first and foremost, but also, he's speaking to us because, we're coming together. Those of us that actually come together in the spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood, you know what I'm saying? Verse 2, that ye be not soon shaken in mind. Like, don't let your thoughts get the best of you, you understand? Or be troubled. So don't let nothing, basically this is setting the grounds, on us. So like, I'll finish this verse and then break it down. Or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as the day of Christ is at hand. So don't be shaken in your mind. Don't be troubled, neither by spirit nor by word. Don't let nothing essentially lead you astray from what is the truth. Because mind you as well, we know that the kingdom of heaven is at hand first and foremost. From what we also had just read, is that the coming of the coming of Yahushua Mashiach, we know that he's going to return. So don't let nothing get in the way of you understanding, you believing in this book, because this book is going to time and time again prove itself, first and foremost, how important brotherhood is, but also that this book is a living book. And mind you as well, these documents do not lie. Because who doesn't lie?
Most High.
Most High don't lie. The Most High is not the author of confusion. You understand? Go ahead, read verse 3.
Verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed.
So let no man deceive you by any means. I mean, that's pretty cut and dry. Don't let nobody trick you. Don't let nobody lie to you. Don't let nobody, again, take you off the path that we are supposed to be on in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Paraphrasing it, but basically the gates of destruction is wide, but the gates into the kingdom of heaven is straight and narrow. You know what I'm saying? It's so narrow that only one person can enter one by one, which basically means that we have to be all in the same footsteps of one another. You understand? Do everything the same exact way, that same exact spirit. You understand? For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. So that day will not come until a falling away happens first, and that that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Look up the word perdition, and we're gonna find out who that son is.
Perdition, and in Christian theology, a state of eternal punishment and damnation into which a sinful and unpenitent person passes after death.
Now that's talking about Christianity, but read that again though from the top.
A state of eternal punishment and damnation into which a sinful.
So a state of punishment and damnation. Who's that son of punishment and damnation?
Yahweh Mashiach.
Is he? Why is he the son of punishment and damnation? Explain your answer.
Well, because it says, I forget what, I know it's in the book of Revelations. He came for division when he.
That's not Revelations, but no, it's not Yahushua. Christians believe that the devil is going to do what? We're going to go off of Christian because that's also what the definition brought out. So according to Christian faith, what does the Christian devil do? Punishes? It creates eternal damnation, essentially. All right? He's the ruler of punishment and damnation, all the way in hell, wherever that is, according to Christianity. Right? But are we Christians in here?
Wow.
Where's hell?
It's in our minds. It's a state of mind.
Okay.
Hell is here now, honestly.
Right. Well, here where?
On earth now.
It's here on earth now. Who is in hell on earth right now?
The so-called white man.
He's in hell right now? The so-called white man is in hell right now?
Oh, it's a lot.
Yeah.
The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Give me an example as to why you know that.
Because we're being oppressed by how we're treated by police, how we're being killed for rightfully obeying them, but still being killed. Who was the little girl's name that got pepper sprayed? I forget what her name was, and she was only 9 years old or whatever.
Oh, and she was calling out for her father, and they
Yeah.
had reported. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember her
What do you
name.
need to do that for a 9-year-old for? A 9-year-old, you can
With two
easily
grown
manhandle.
ass men, right?
Easily.
Right.
Not even trying. But
No,
you gotta
right.
do that.
Facts. So, with that being said, who is the son of it? Who is the man of sin? Who is the son of all that damnation?
Esau.
He's the so-called white man. Because why? How can you explain as to why though? And mind you as well, while you're thinking about that, for those of you all that are listening, and yourself is included, obviously, but take into consideration that as we bringing this out, this is the person that we want to integrate with and have interracial marriages with. Someone that is the son of eternal damnation and punishment. And you want him, like the NFL offensive lineman, to be your head, sister? You want to humble yourself to someone who's going to always punish you? That's gonna bring that punishment upon you because you allowed him to deceive you, mind you. When you should just know, just off the rip, mother, I know what your ancestors did to my ancestors, and it should just be as simple as that. I know a lot of you sisters out there got a whole lot more tongue than that, and you gonna add, because you're gonna add more flavor to it. Because mind you as well, Israel, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we the salt of the earth. We all have our way of getting down with the get down. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it shouldn't get any further than that. As a black, Hispanic, and Native American woman, and then even for a man, we also should know that we're nothing more than a fetish. We're nothing more than a fantasy because these dogs, these heathens, don't know what it's like to have a real man. And I need y'all to really understand that these white women do not love you, that these Asian women do not love you, these African women do not love you. They are in love with the fantasy, and in a moment's notice, leave your ass in the ditch. We'll call the cops on your ass. Betray you with not a second thought. Do the right thing. Now, y'all might be thinking, oh, you know what? Black, Hispanic, and Native American women, they'll do the same thing. But what the difference is our women have been conditioned to act like them. Our women look up to their women. Even though they look up to our women, they already know that our women are the superpower. They are the greatest women on the earth. No women better than a black, Hispanic, or Native American woman, period. Hands down. But because of in the midst of all the confusion, where our women wants to be like their women, where their women has an actual voice. I mean, we just had the Feast of Purim. We went over Esther, and the first queen that Xerxes had, I can't think of his name according to the Bible, but if you get your Zondervan Bible dictionary, basically, he's Xerxes. If you've ever watched, the 300 movie. But But King Xerxes, like the thing with King Xerxes was they understood that when a woman in power, she's got a voice, she's got influence. Because again, like we had brought, what I brought out earlier was that that's like I ain't bring it out. I just paraphrased what Solomon had said in the first place. And that's essentially that a man does everything for a woman. Everything. If a woman is wise and knows how to move, that's the most powerful doggone creature on the earth. Nothing more powerful than a woman. Can you precept that? I'm gonna write that down. We're gonna revisit that just because of time's sake. But Salakia, we're gonna drop that. We're gonna move on. All right, just for time. Verse 4, go ahead.
Verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
Answer that question. Or his worship. Go ahead. Now answer that question. Salakia. Read on. Read the rest of the verse.
So that he as a God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is self God.
Who is that?
Esau.
Proof.
Well, where it says that, so that he.
Example. Make it quick.
Now he's showing his power now. Like he's trying to show that. I mean, everybody looks up to him.
Okay. Give me an example as to how everybody looks up to him. In what way or ways?
They want to be like them, they dress like them, look like them. I mean, a lot of our sisters do that. A lot of our men do that. We cut our hair, clean shave, try to look like them, try to look presentable. We can't grow our hair out, or else we look too ghetto or whatever. Don't have tattoos. You know.
You ain't supposed to have tattoos, period. But give me something example of them trying to sit in a temple of God, showing himself that he is God. What's an example of that?
Would it be like them, like as in like bishops and like popes and such?
Christianity. It's Christianity. Because who's the head of Christianity?
Spain or Esau.
Who is it that they all worship in Christianity? A white man. You know, white man ever gonna die on sacrifice himself for a black man? Yeah, y'all really bought into that, Christians. Like, just think about that. Y'all really buying into a white dude. Say, you know what? I'm gonna give my life for these niggas, for these spicks, for these savages. And then they come over here and take this doggone land in America, write the Constitution. Every man was created equal. But mind you, I own 5 niggers. I own slaves. And I'm supposed to think that that person thought that my forefather was equal at that time? You understand what I'm saying? All right, go ahead and read verse 5.
Verse 5. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 6. Now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. Verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who knoweth letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. Verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Verse 9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all the power and signs and lying wonders. Verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness, and them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
Okay. So, with all of that, they've been saved, and I just let the brother run through that. I hate pens like this. I let the brother run through that just because we're gonna just do a quick little breakdown from there. So basically, from verse 5 to 10, it's just going into, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. It's basically saying, like, man, I already tried to warn you that what is going to come your way. There's going to be obstacles. Those obstacles are people who are going to try to deceive you to keep you from the actual path that you're supposed to be on. You understand? And you know that with that, and ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. So with that being said, and now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. That's talking about basically there's going to be a time and place. And never mind, I'm not gonna call for that. There's gonna be a time and place that the unveiling of who this devil is, who this oppressor is, there's going to be a time and place where it's going to be very well known. There's multiple precepts that can be pulled. You understand? But who is the unveiling going to reveal? Who is under that veiling? Go ahead.
Esau.
It's Esau. You understand? It's Esau that's been the one that's, created all this war, pestilence, destruction, all this unnecessary. Okay, so like, I'm not going to say unnecessary, but all of this, these terrible things that have, come upon this earth is because of the so-called white man. Mind you, industrialization was not a thing until America. China got on there after. America persuaded China into it, and Japan. Be mindful of that. And because of industrialization, essentially, and I'm not buying into in any shape, way, or form the whole global warming conspiracy, what have you. But essentially, who created that? Who created all this pollution? Who created our deforestation? Our, who is pushing in, pushing further the depopulation of not only certain people, because mind you, the Tasmanian people on the Tasmanian Islands, They went completely extinct because of the British, which is the so-called white man. You understand? But then also look at the animals as well. What you think the animals are dying just because of natural selection at the rate that they're dying? Where I believe it's like it's within minutes that not one, but I believe it's somewhere in maybe the hundreds of species. And look that up. You had something, but look that up. How many species on Earth are going extinct by the hour? Look that up. And then we're gonna go to the first book of Maccabees, First Maccabees chapter 3 verse 48. That's where we're gonna go next. But find that for me real quick, Baba Kasha.
It says here that every hour three species disappear. Every day up to 100. Every day up to 150 species are lost. Every year between 18,000 and 55,000 species become extinct.
Okay, so I was off a little bit, but mind you as well, 18,000 species every year is being killed off. And you think this so-called white man has any regards for anything on this earth aside from his own pleasures? You understand what I'm saying?
What's the book and chapter and verse?
Chapter 3, verse 48.
What book?
First Maccabees. Your apocrypha. Here, go ahead and pull that and read that. Give me a second. Read that real quick.
Okay. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who become tributaries unto him. Kind of on.
Read it again.
104, right?
Huh?
104, right? Maccabees?
No, chapter 3.
Oh, chapter 3. Salon.
Chapter 3, verse 48.
Oh, sorry. Right here. The book of Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48. And he laid open the book of law, wherein the heathen he sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So we just read in the second book of Thessalonians that essentially Esau is going to be deceiving us. That, there's going to be somebody to deceive us in the first place. And because we have practical knowledge, we understand who that is, and that is Esau, right? And so it says, and laid open the book of the law. What is the book of the law? It's this Bible. You understand what I'm saying? So like laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen, so those are the other nations, you understand, has sought to paint the likeness of their images. Sought to paint to the likeness of their images. And we're not going to go there right now, but, you know, for instance, you go to the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 13 through 15, that gives you a direct, not a direct description, but it gives you a good enough description of what Yahushua Mashiach even looked like in the first place, where his feet were burnt with a color of burnt bronze. I mean, did that look like that white Jesus that your grandmama is hanging up in her doggone house? Or, you know, that white Jesus that your auntie be taking you, you know, when she take you to church, that white Jesus they got, you know, they worshiping in that church? Like, come on now. That's not even dark. But then on top of that, you know, he's supposed to have white woolly hair. The Jesus I seen, I mean, he got white people hair. He got stringy white people hair. He got no type of curl, ain't got no type of nothing. So how do you go from what the scripture says to, you know, this nonsense that everybody is worshiping today and following today? You understand? Go ahead and drop that. We're going to go to the book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 2. Or chapter 10, verse 2. Select.
Con. The book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let him be taken in the deceives that they have imagined.
Read that again. That last part. Read that last part again.
Let them be taken in the deceives that they
Read that again.
Let them be taken in the deceives that they have imagined.
Young man. Take your time with this.
Slide.
Let them be taken in what?
Let them be taken in the deceives that they have imagined.
In the deceives?
Oh, devices. Slide.
There you go. No sweat. It's all right. Just, you know, make sure you take your time when you need to take your time. That's the only important part. All right. So go ahead and read that from the top, Bubba Chef.
The book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined.
So, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Who persecutes the poor in their pride? What's a prime example that has actually recently happened where the wicked in their pride persecuted the poor? There's something in specific I'm actually looking for. Are you watching Facebook, by the way?
Con.
Have we had anything? You know what? That's all right. I'm gonna look for myself. Tell me, what example has there been recently where the wicked persecute the poor? And there's quite a few answers that you can give, but there's one in specific that I'm looking for right now. You want to take a stab at it, young man? See, that's what I'm saying. I don't be seeing y'all's doggone comments on the freaking Facebook.
Yeah, I see what you mean on that. It comes in like super late.
No, it's not the delay. There's a certain video you have to watch, but we'll get on that later. Anybody? And Salakia, Ariala, Yahawada, if you're still watching, I just want to say Salakia. I'm just now seeing your message in the first place. If you still following, just so you know, currently we're on the book of Psalm, chapter 10, verse 2 right now. But Salakia for that. Go ahead. Did you have a did you want to take a stab at it? Did you want
What was the question again? Salakia?
What has happened very recently where the wicked in his pride prosecuted the poor? And then not only that, but they were taken in the devices that they had imagined. Because mind you, it says, let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Can you give me any type of example as to what had transpired very, very recently, where there were some brothers in a doggone school, which I'm kind of upset I wasn't hip onto the game, and not only that, but I didn't have the funds at the time, but you know, they came up on some bread because of this. Give y'all a few moments, just a few moments. The oppressor tried to depict him like he was a good person. Hey, Salakia, Dwayne Davis, I know what you was talking about. Now, again, I'm pretty much just seeing y'all comments on Facebook and whatnot, but I know what you was talking about, and yeah, you pretty much right. So, yeah. Man, what about GameStop? Y'all know nothing about them GameStop stocks? How mad they was that we have found out that some, billionaires was about to buy out GameStop for stupid cheap. Stupid cheap. And some people on Reddit say, you know what? Let's buy these stocks up. Let's run it up. Right? And because of that deal that they thought that they was just going to get for maybe, I don't want to put the minimum amount, what that was supposed to be for the deal, but now they're losing billions with a B, as in, boy, you got played. Go ahead.
So, you're talking about the rich is losing billions, right?
God. Yeah, it's the rich.
Oh, so I got confused by
it's the wicked. The wicked in their pride. What is one thing that motivates the wicked? What's one thing that motivates the wicked? The majority of the wicked. Exactly, is money.
Yeah, I got confused by your...
All right, don't sweat. Then for now on, if you start to feel confused about anything, make sure that you ask to clarify. You understand? So then that way we can always stay on the same page. You know what I'm saying? Like that in itself is part of the brotherhood. Brotherhood isn't necessarily just a one-way street where I do something for you, but also you do something for yourself to make sure that you understand. You know what I'm saying? Which in turn, like, it is technically for you. You know what I'm saying? Brotherhood isn't necessarily what is being done, what you do for others, but also what you do for yourself. All right? So for example, I might do something for you, but out of the spirit of brotherhood, I'm going to require something for myself. And that's not That's not me saying that, oh, let's do a little trade-off. What I'm getting at is I might require something for myself where, just like in this situation, you need to further understand it so that we can stay on the same page. Yo, I don't understand what you're saying. Can you rephrase that question? Can you elaborate more on that question for me, please? Baba Kashad. You know what I'm saying? Speak up. Don't be afraid to say that, you don't understand something, that you don't know something. That's Christian. First and foremost, that's Christian. All right, if you want to be afraid of growing, then don't go join a Christian church. Go be a Muslim. Go be a Buddhist. You understand? And this ain't me attacking you. This is this is me generally saying this, not just to you, but also to those, in general. You understand what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that's just a little small example, and where they ate their own wickedness. You understand? Verse 3. Go ahead and read verse 3.
Verse 3. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetous whom the Lord abhorreth.
So the wicked boasts, again, going on their pride. They talk about what his heart's desire is, what he's always got on his mind. You know what I'm saying? What he desires, and I'm about to go and buy this yacht. I'm about to go and get this. I'm about to go and get that. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And blesseth the covetous, those that go against the law. Anybody that goes against the law, I mean, in that basically, give me an example. Those that are blessed with covetous are blessed for their covetous, for going against the Most High. Who gets blessed for that?
Esau.
Okay, but Esau is the one doing the blessing with that.
What was the question again?
Who, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous. So, give me half. So, the wicked, because that is general, a little bit more than that. The wicked will bless those that go against the Most High, right? What's an example of that? And this is such a broad let me check Facebook. This is such a broad question that there's many answers that you can give from this.
So the question is who sorry.
I'm listening.
Who that is wicked that blesses the what was the question again?
The wicked, all right, just for time's sake, I'm just gonna go ahead and answer it. All right. Though, people like Kevin Hart, where he puts on a dress and also makes out with The Rock. You know what I'm saying? Anything that goes against the Most High, you're gonna be blessed. I mean, hell, why do you think that the so-called white man, allows these Christian churches to ran rapid, like the way that these mega churches, to do their thing? They're going against the Most High first and foremost. Government, Esau gets his cut. TD Jake pays his dues. Creflo Dog pays his dues to the oppressor, sure. But ultimately, you think that Esau give a damn what the hell they talking about? As long as you say, don't bring up being an Israelite. They might have done that here and there. But then, when we get to that point, make sure that you teach, the fake Jewish doctrine, where they might say, oh, you can have is it unorthodox Jews, which is you're not of the bloodline, but you can come into the bloodline essentially. That's one thing that Commander General Yohana was debating with. That I ain't gonna speak too harshly on it because he still is a brother, but that brother who wants to pose himself as, even though he's a Jew, as a fake Jew. Even though he's an Israelite, he want to be with the fake ones. Which that's the thing that that kind of gets me. But that's also because he a better white man than the white man himself. You know what I'm saying? He perfected his math. That's when the master actually, or I'm sorry, the student overcomes the master. That's exactly what that is, right there, right then and there. You understand? Is brothers like himself, brothers like Enrique, any brother that is in Proud Boys, I guarantee you, there is no Proud Boy than the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that is in that goofy ass organization. Because mind you, as well, ain't no white man out doing us in anything. We gotta be the best of the best because that's just in our nature. You have to understand. You understand that? We competitive by nature. Oh yeah, I'm tracking. Don't sweat the wild. But all right. So go ahead and read on.
Verse 4.
Yep.
The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts.
So the wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. Countenance is basically the counter of your thoughts. The countering of what you do. Essentially, he's not going to seek out the judgments of when he is wrong. Again, Commander General Yohana had brought this out yesterday about how, the white man is not worried about rules and regulations. The Proud Boys are worried about just doing their own thing. So like, let me tell you, check my word, because we out here in Las Vegas, and we kind of you got to watch what you say really out here, or else you get clowned. You know what I'm saying? But out of brotherhood. But with that being said, the Proud Boys themselves are on. As a Proud Boy, they want to be a homosexual. They just gonna do it. Because first and foremost, like that's who they are. They're not worried about what God thinks. They just worried about themselves. You understand?
Come on.
They just worried about themselves. They worry about their self-pleasures. That's why they're not worried about, their own people that they technically oppress. But even though that they're oppressed, their lowest is basically held to a higher regard than us. Think about it. It's off the rip that they white. Just being white. You know how terrible that is? Because one thing I will say, that white people do actually, so-called white man actually does do better than us, is be poor. You know why I say that? Look at the statistics. Percentage-wise, there's a reason why I say percentage, because flat numbers, there's no justification when one side outnumbers the other. But percentage-wise, I see you. But percentage-wise, you know who leads on government assistance? Do you? Percentage-wise.
Well, Esau, of course.
It's white people. Even though they try to say that, you niggers just depend on this and just want socialism, just da 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 da. You're lazy, blah 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 blah. But we're so lazy. We built this country for you to have a form of socialism through government assistance. That those that partake on government assistance are your people. Yes, go ahead, young man.
Well, I wanted to say because, I've watched a lot of things like how people they'll have debates between a sister between a white man, a so-called white man, and saying basically how many poor people or how many people are on welfare or how the crime rate. The white people always goes by percentage, and when they say that, you never hear the sister or even think of the sister saying what's the actual number. And I've looked up the number many times. The number is always more when it comes to white people against women. White people being higher every time. The reason why the percentage is more on the black people is there's not as much. When you look at the numbers, the number for white people is higher altogether, is higher than our so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, but they always go by black specifically because that's always what they're talking about. But
I think you actually, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna cut you off because you got that kind of mixed up. Because the percentages goes towards the so-called whites. The percentages go towards so-called whites. The numbers goes towards so-called blacks. You understand? Oh wait, no. Actually, both of them goes to whites in general, because not only do they outnumber us, but they also, they pretty much lead on reported crime. And mind you as well, that's one of the biggest things to take into consideration. These are just reported crimes of, or not even reported crimes, but assistance. Government assistance. Since I was bringing that out, I was going on crimes because that's what she was talking about, correct? Right. So there's the crimes is a much even bigger thing as far as a numbers game, because majority of what we do, not even the majority of what we do, but there's a lot of things that we might do where we get caught and they might just piece us off. You understand? They might just deal with us right then and there, just so that they can have, the and mind y'all as well, I am actually still looking for the nigger hunting license that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. I am actually looking for that to try and get my hands on one for myself. But essentially, they just fulfilling, their license. Essentially, they just fulfilling to what they paid for. Essentially, you understand? A lot of what we do as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, either it's going to get reported and be mainstream, or not necessarily mainstream, but it'll actually go through filing, or they'll just deal with us on the spot themselves. So you got to think about that. But then on the flip side as well, with the so-called white man, when he does something, you think they actually get killed like we do? All those countless videos that you can watch where, let's say that he actually gets dropped. He actually gets shot and dropped. And I'm going to end it on this, where a white man actually fights against a cop, a white cop, and he gets shot and dropped, don't it take a whole lot longer for that cop to actually pull the trigger? There's a whole lot more talking down, right? So with that being said, I'm saying that, I'm bringing that out to make you think about how many cases actually get reported on our side as a Black, Hispanic, and Native American versus them. Because there's human trafficking, basically just the missing persons report in general. You think that we hear about every single person that gets killed by the cops, that gets hung and killed by the KKK or any other white supremacist group? You think we hear about all of it? Whether we was actually committing a crime or not, anything that actually inflicts and plagues our people, you think we hear about all of it? But then, mind you as well, do you think that you hear about all of the statistics actually get reported with the crimes that the so-called white man does? Mind you as well, let's just start from here. We're going to start and end with this. Well, I guess just end. Salakia. Who's the biggest drug dealer of the world?
Esau.
How do you say that?
Well, since they basically controlled everything in them, and
You can't say they control everything.
well, basically in America.
I said biggest drug dealers of the world.
Well, okay, so America being one of the biggest places that drug dealing is in, that's for sure. You got the what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. The cartel. How are they getting in without our, from the border, our inspection from the border? Obviously, we have our people, not our people, Slovakia, people in America letting him through because, obviously they want, America wants that cut, which is Esau, obviously, and they let them through with all that stuff. As long as they get that certain cut, they'll let them through with all those drugs and get their profit as well. But as long as they get their profit, because, they're the biggest military in the world. They're not.
We're not the biggest.
Well, at least the most powerful. They've practically proved it because no one tries to do anything to us.
No, what it is we have the most military presence. We have the most presence worldwide as a country through our military. You understand? And so because of that, the reason why we're in Afghanistan, portion. And mind y'all as well, since y'all, wanted to get Donald Trump, and I'm not advocating for Donald Trump, mind you, I don't do the whole voting thing, period. In fact, I'm telling y'all not to vote. Ever separate from this nation in every single way possible. You understand? But since our worldly brothers and sisters were so eager to get rid of the racist Donald Trump, as if that would solve a problem. Your new president, brings in is essentially pushing gay rights transsexual rights, which, if you pay attention, is superseding our just simple civil rights, let alone equal rights as a black kid and a Hispanic Native American man. You understand? But also as well, obviously our oil prices are going up because, I mean, gas is getting ridiculous by the day. I haven't seen a single day that it's been, gas prices have been stagnant. So with that being said, I mean, listen, the only way to have true brotherhood, the only way to overcome these things, the only way for us to have peace, the only way for us to have a place in this world where our placement is meaningful on this earth is by starting off in the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under Commanding General Yohana.
That's right.
Learning this truth, following underneath him, and following these laws, statutes, commandments. You understand? To come under the banner of Commanding General Yohana under Yahweh Shai Mashiach. You understand? To be ready to essentially follow under Christ when he returns. You understand that? And the only way that you can prepare yourself for that is by following the laws, statutes, commandments. And with that being said, Shalom Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatham to all the brothers. Shalom Yahweh Shamar Ilathah Hashem Yahweh Shai to all the sisters. And with that being said, class dismissed.